Okay, and so since we're concerned with maximizing profit, and in the short run, the only way we can increase profit is by increasing labor, right? The only way we can do this, right, is to increase labor. And so what we're concerned with is what could be called the marginal revenue product of labor, or MRP subscript L. Okay, and what this is it's the additional revenue brought in by an increase by 1 unit of labor. Okay, so for every additional unit of labor, our revenue increases by this much. Okay, so we can actually substitute in what is called the marginal product of labor times the price that we're charging for every single thing. And so what this is saying, right, is that the price of the good that we sell something for, okay, the price that we're charging times the marginal product of labor is equal to basically the increase in revenue caused by the productivity of labor. Okay, so what's going on here is we're saying let's increase labor by 1. We're going to multiply that by the price that we're getting, and that is going to tell us how much money we're going to make by selling by hiring 1 more unit of labor and selling the corresponding increase in output. So before, remember, we were talking about sort of the increased productivity of 1 more unit of labor, right? And now we're saying, each marginal unit adds, let's say, 10 units of production times the price of the good. Well, 1 more unit of labor, right, brings us 10 times the price of the product. That kind of makes sense. So the marginal revenue product is the increase in revenue caused by an increase in the amount of labor. Okay, and what we would want to consider also is sort of what the book calls the marginal expense of labor. But that's also just known as the wage. Okay, so the cost of labor is the wage. Okay, so we're always concerned with the marginal revenue product of labor versus the wage. Okay, how much we bring in from adding 1 more unit of labor versus how much we have to pay to get 1 more unit. Okay, so if the marginal revenue product of labor is greater than the wage, so if we're making more money than we're spending on labor, then increase labor, right? Hire 1 more worker. So if 1 more worker will earn you more money than you will spend on hiring that worker, you should hire him. Okay, if the marginal revenue product of labor is less than the wage, you need to lay someone off. Okay, so if I, let's say I cost $20 per hour, right? My wage is $20 per hour, and I'm only producing $15 an hour for you. You should get rid of me, because every hour I work for you, even though I'm adding $15 to the total revenue, right, per hour, I'm costing $20 per hour. So you should lay me off. Okay. Now, what we can also do is some fun stuff. We can say, since MRP sub L is equal to the marginal productivity of labor times the price, we can say that MRP sub L equal to MPL times price, which means that we can also say MP of L times price equals W, right, in equilibrium. So notice, right, if this is bigger, you want to increase labor. If this is lower, you want to decrease labor, right? If they're exactly equal, then you're actually maximizing profits. And so what we're saying here is that the marginal productivity of labor times the price is equal to the wage. Okay, and we can also put that in real wage terms and say the marginal productivity of labor is equal to wage divided by price, right? Or we can say that price is equal to the wage divided by marginal productivity of labor. All right, and so there's lots of really fun stuff that we can say. We'll come back and use this in just a minute. Okay, in the long run, where firms can hire and fire labor, right? We have sort of the same analysis, right? Where we have the marginal revenue product of capital, okay, which is equal to the marginal product of capital times the price, right? Same exact thing as before, except this time we're talking about how much additional revenue we'll receive if we hire one more unit of capital, okay? And here, we just talk about the cost. So let me make sure I'm using the right letter. Yep. Okay, so here we're concerned with the cost of capital, which is C, right? So we want to compare marginal revenue product of capital versus the cost of capital, C, okay? So again, if MRPK is greater than C, so if one more unit of capital brings in more money than it costs, hire more capital. If MRPK is less than C, hire less capital. If MRPK equals C, then profit maximized, right? So if marginal revenue product is equal to C, then profit is maximized, okay? And the same over here. If marginal revenue product of labor is equal to the wage, profit is maximized. Now we can do the same sort of substitution here. So we can say MPK times P equals C, right? If we're maximizing profits, this should be true. I've just substituted this in here for right here, okay? And we can say, P equals C divided by MPK, right? And since we have price being the same price in both of these things, we can say that these are exactly equal, right? And so we have C over MPK equals W over MPL, which is telling us that the ratio of the marginal productivity to the wage has to be exactly equal to the marginal productivity of capital to the cost of capital, right? Which is kind of cool. So in the long run, profit is maximized when the marginal productivities of these things, assuming that these costs are the same, when the marginal productivities are also the same, which is kind of a really cool thing. But we can also think of this sort of intuitively. So I'm going to flip this over. We can think through this long derivation that I just showed you intuitively as well. So let's say that the marginal cost, let's say you want to increase output by 1. Okay, so your goal is to increase output by 1, and you can do so. So the marginal cost of labor, right, is $10. So W equals 10. Okay, and let's say the marginal cost of increasing production would be 12 for capital is equal to 12. Okay, what you could actually do in this scenario, assuming that we've made the marginal, we've harmonized the units. So remember, W over MPL, right, is equal to C over MPK. All right. If we've harmonized what a unit of capital and a unit of labor is, which is basically saying I've defined them to be equal, okay, what we can do, I'm just going to cut